So after you've done table 2, the first part of table 2, there's another table 2 that I just have listed as 2.1, and it's another sensitivity analysis, but it is done just on inflation. And it's a separate table because there's two parts of inflation. There's the cost inflation and the price inflation. So in the case, it had you do various combinations of cost and price inflation. Like one time it was 2% cost and 5% price inflation, and that is what the base case will be actually, is right there. So what you do is, again, you go on the table I'll post, the spreadsheet model, and put in 1% cost inflation and 0% price inflation and see what your NPV changes to. And put in 4% cost inflation and 0% price inflation and see what your NPV will change to. And do that through all the table. Put in 2% cost inflation and 8% price inflation and see what your NPV would change to. So you need to have all of these filled in with not all of these filled in with some values, and these will all be NPVs based on changing your inflation rates. These are the cost inflation rates, these are the price inflation rates. And then just like in the first table, the sensitivity analysis table, you'll have some positive NPVs and some negative NPVs and get an overall feel of, well, inflation needs to be quite a bit against us maybe to cause the NPVs to be zero, so we maybe get a good feeling about it, or vice versa. You might get a bad feeling about it because there's a lot of negative NPVs. Table 3 gets into the scenario analysis. And with scenario analysis, it's kind of what it says. It's when you take a scenario where you change more than one variable at a time. And you can change any amount of variables, any variables. You can change all your variables. You can have 50 different scenarios if you want. This just has a 3 scenario case, similar to what we've always done with like expected rate of return. We have a worst case, a base case, and a best case. And then they just want you to change these 2 variables. So again, you go back to the spreadsheet model that I'll post, and instead of just changing one variable at a time, like in the sensitivity analysis, you change 2 variables at a time. And the case talks about what the worst and best case would be. I went ahead and just put these in here for you, so that'll save you some time from hunting through the case to try to find those. So basically all you do is you go in, change unit sales to 150 and salvage value to 0, and see what happens to your NPV and your IRR and your MIRR. And then change unit sales and salvage value to 400,000 and 50,000. See how that changes your NPV, IRR, MIRR, and so on. And a scenario analysis is kind of an expected valuation type exercise where you assign probabilities to this worst case and to the base case and to the best case. And then based on that, just like with expected rate of return, you come up with the expected value for each of these. So we're finding an expected value of NPV. So this would be an expected NPV based on these probabilities and these NPVs that you'll get. And then you find an expected IRR based on these probabilities and these IRRs, and then the same with the MIRR. And then I went ahead and put in the standard deviation coefficient variation, which just gives you a little bit more information about the spread and the variation in these values and their risk measures from a coefficient variation standpoint. So then overall for question 9, based on your analysis of these 3 tables, then you kind of give an overall feeling or opinion about, well, we've done further analysis, and based on the sensitivity analysis and scenario analysis, we feel that we should or shouldn't do the project, and explain why, by explaining these tables.